I wanted to do this because I find that diplomacy is in peril. It's clearly in crisis, and American diplomacy in particular. I call it the dark age of diplomacy, at least in modern times. The time for mourning has passed. I think we should look at how we get out of this, how we prepare for a renaissance in diplomacy. This article I wrote recently in the New York Times talks exactly about this renaissance that I think we should be looking forward to and try to figure out how we go about doing it. Every president for the past 60 years has rewarded people who know nothing about diplomacy with ambassadorial positions. And other very high-level positions in Washington, diplomatic positions, that are no less significant than ambassadorial positions. The White House cares nothing about qualifications. It's really how much you donated to the president's campaign or how much money you raised to elect the president. That's all that matters. It's disgraceful, it's embarrassing. 9/11 is the key to how American diplomacy changed. Make no mistake, the foundations of the liberal world order have to do with benefiting the United States. But their farsightedness was in trying to find the way, at the same time, to benefit as much of the rest of the world as was possible. My contention is that because of what the American leaders of the late 40s and the 50s did, millions of people around the world are much better off today in terms of security and economic well-being than they would have been otherwise. Obviously, American foreign policy mistakes have caused negative effects on populations around the world. I'm not disputing that. But I'm just saying that generally, if we look at human history, the last 70 years, relatively speaking, have been more secure, more peaceful, and more prosperous than any period before that. Successive American administrations of both parties have failed miserably to make the case to the American people that this order, in fact, benefits the United States. For some reason, they either thought that it was self-evident, which is why would they think that? It's not self-evident. Maybe they just live in a bubble and they don't speak and listen to real people. Come clean with the American people and explain to them what you're doing and why you're doing it. Don't make them think that diplomacy is about spying. Foreign policy and diplomacy are not the same. Diplomacy is one tool to implement or to carry out foreign policy. The State Department sucks at strategy. State Department people are not trained to think strategically. They think somewhat tactically, but also they think short term. Training in diplomacy is terrible globally. It barely exists. Most countries have neglected it. They think that diplomacy is logical, common sense, and you'll just figure it out. You need a workforce that's well trained, right? Well taken care of, particularly when diplomacy is not just work. Diplomacy is a way of life because you move around with your family and you raise children as you go around the world. It's been a culture that just does not put enough value in training.